Hi, I'm an artist, and that usually means I create things. But today I seek only to destroy. To then eventually create something out of the thing I've destroyed. So, within reason and only very selective destruction. Got a lot of stuff, and for the most part I do end up using all the stuff that I keep around. Doesn't change the fact that whether I like it or not, I do have limited space to take up on this earth. It is wise to reevaluate from time to time, and I do want to get started on admittedly a very small area today. Baby steps. May I introduce you to some of my former school books. These specifically I kept around to eventually use for something, and well, it's been a decade, so my intention has always been to eventually flip through these and pick out pictures and material, whatever I can deem useful, for collages and journaling mostly. I really hope that cutting into these with scissors is gonna be even just the slightest amount as satisfying as I daydreamed it being while I was still in school. I also found one of my old school agenda calendar things. I still like the cover and it's in pristine condition. Benefits of plastic, I guess. I thought I could gut this, eventually add like new pages and use this just as a notebook. And also maybe I'm gonna find a couple things to tear apart in my supply cabinet behind me, because that's also kind of overflowing. Today's subject, geography. I got 3 geography books here, cutting mat, a knife, and scissors. So let's go to town. I think I basically still have all of my school books because those are expensive. The rest of my school books are in a box somewhere. Pretty sure I kept the geography ones because I thought, you know, maps. Those make for cool backgrounds for little drawings or journaling of any kind. Now, I don't know if you notice a theme here, but there's barely any maps. And why I didn't flip through it then and made that decision is absolutely beyond me. I don't think geography necessarily is a boring subject. Like a lot of other things in school, it really highly depends on the teacher. We're mostly the ones that still needed an additional subject and very clearly landed on, well, I guess geography then. Do you enjoy me angrily ranting? Because I don't think this video is gonna reach a different point. School's just always been a very frustrating matter for me. Oh cool, a whole section about the energy we get from Russia. Yeah, I'm sure none of us needed to know about that. It's not become relevant since. Okay, real talk for more than a second probably. I might be deeping this whole video, be warned. But this might just be the perfect time to let go of some stuff, so I'm gonna. Hi, currently editing. I filmed this segment where I wanted to talk about my experience in the school system because of, you know, the nature of the matter we're cutting up today. Mostly that I was an introvert and I learn better by listening than participating, and the German school system sort of weighs those the same, or there's quite an emphasis on participation grades. At least that's what it felt like for me my whole school life. My like written test results were always brought down by that, and in my opinion every child should get to choose which one of those, spoken or written, weighs more at the beginning of the school year, because by the time you're fucking 14 you know how you work. That's what pisses me off about systems. They're often too rigid to really account for the individual, and they're not as frequently updated as they should be. I have a lot more problems with the educational system and with a lot of other systems in general. I don't know if you've noticed, I'm really subtle about it. Nonetheless, this is the internet, people are gonna twist your word, you gotta take so many viewpoints into account. And also politically speaking, a lot of things are going to shit. So let me just be really clear about this one thing. I'm really lucky to live in a place where there are mostly functioning systems in place. Critiquing the system just means that I really want it improved and not that I want to abolish the system as a whole. I filmed this segment while, keep in mind, I was incredibly sleep deprived, and I wanted to talk about my experience as an introvert. I quickly realized that I don't have that much to say about it, but for some reason I just kept talking. And then somehow I ended up talking about the socioeconomic state of the world right now, you know? But I think I said roughly the stuff that I maybe maybe wanted to say originally. Right now, here, other stuff is basically unusable, but I think a couple sentences out of context are very funny, so I made a little supercut for you. But also don't sweat the context because there wasn't really much of that. So, yeah. I don't know, here you go. If your experience within the system depends on who you interact with, not a good enough system. We've all had teachers that very obviously hated children. You're a shit teacher, and I don't know what you're doing in that job. Oh boy, digital advancements within the school system, whole different topic. Just realize that a lot of you might be younger than me and have TikTok brain, you know? So look, it spins, something to keep your brain busy. A globe from the 1970s. Some of this has changed. Oh hey look, the Gulf of Mexico. Let's get political as well while we're at it. I had very digitally inept teachers, but that's just how that works, you know, your environment shapes you. Jesus Christ, this is getting bigger and bigger. I need to stop. We need to be better. I'm also just rambling and I don't know if I'm completely making sense. Touching school books clearly just triggers me. We still need to fix a lot of things. On this planet, everything affects everything. Hi, I was a scared little introvert in school. We can't have teachers that are unable to send an email underfunding the art department, while every school district in the first world is having wet dreams about the science fair. Okay, back to the more lighthearted part of this video where it takes scissors to my past. You know, I'm not saying that all of these pictures need to be retaken and reevaluated and constantly updated all the time, but I have to ask, do you not have access to stock images from this century? So this is the stack of stuff that I've deemed useful. Eventually I'm gonna clean up like some of these edges and like carefully cut that stuff out. Or maybe I'm just gonna leave it until I need it. But I need a place to put it and store it in the meantime. Here are a couple of the highlights. Here's like the complete day cycle of the sun. This painting, which was a nice change from all the photographs. Columbus was a prick, but his ship sure did look nice. A couple of funny illustrations. I mean, obviously when talking geography, the worm is a very important person. Surprising amount of like house inspiration for Sims builds. I got more of those. Because my brain is fucked and I cannot look at architecture anymore without thinking, can I build this in The Sims? The Sims 2, mind you. So I'm not just a little bit weird, but also old. And animals. Because who doesn't love animals? I think I have an idea of the perfect place to put it. Also, school times related. We're really closing a circle here. We're putting a nail in the coffin, you know? Wouldn't mind that either. Organizer thing that I made from scratch while I was still in school. Perfect. Moving on to this thing. Pouch in the back that I'm definitely gonna keep. And I thought maybe I'd have to make this more complicated and cut out the pages, but I think I can sort of pry this open, take out this block.
About that time specifically.
Riveting and spectacular content, as I've come to realize. Well, I got the back thing with the elastic closure, the little plastic pouch to keep things in. That's surely going to be useful. There's like a detachable plastic ruler thing at the front. Can't hurt cover, and the spine, obviously. Now I'm crazy, so I have fully considered just like hand making some pages for this. Not now, but in the future. That does seem like a really stupid idea, doesn't it? Yeah, sometimes you can like get these sort of notebooks for like really cheap. I have one, I think, somewhere. But they always have like really shit and non-durable covers, so I could just put that on there. And then I'd probably also have an extra spine, so that's a problem for future me to figure out. But this is much easier to store in the meantime, you know, much more flat, takes up less space, so that's good. You know what? I've worked through all of these now, and I remember that what I actually really always wanted to do was
set them on fire.
Nothing personal to geography. I just really wanted to make a big bonfire with all my school books once I didn't need them anymore. I never did that, so maybe. One slight problem though, and I'll put that in the most British way that I know. It's absolutely pissing down outside. I found quite a good satirical caricature in one of these. London in winter and in the summer. Fair enough, that's not far off from what this year has been like around here. If you want to set fire to stuff, it's probably better if there's not water coming from above. Also, I am way too responsible of an adult by this point, I fear. That's not good for the environment. I am not delusional enough to think that all the ink and paper and whatever coating is on whatever, there's definitely going to be coming fumes off of this that shouldn't go into the atmosphere or my lungs. It might be a slightly less spectacular version than 19-year-old me originally imagined. Because I'm a responsible adult now, here's a little disclaimer for you. Let's get serious for a second. I do fully realize that in these trying political times, a German setting books on fire, potentially not the best of looks. So rest assured that I'm only doing this for my personal enjoyment, for your entertainment, and because I am much better at resent and remember than forgive and forget. And I'm seeing this more as kind of like a science experiment at this point. Like, I don't know how exactly they make this kind of paper. How well does it burn, you know? Would it theoretically have been a glorious bonfire? If you had a great time in school, this entire video is going to be very unrelatable. But like for real, only cowards burn books for their content. Or take satirical late night shows off the air. Now where are the matches? Let's cut to the fun bit. Phenomenal news, it stopped raining. Huh. Interesting. This is nothing for me at this moment in time. Well, I guess that means it does get better. Rock on or whatever. Bye.